Hello, this is Jijo, and welcome to the first episode of CAT 2021 Weekends. This would be a series of videos I'll be putting up every weekend, maybe one video, maybe two videos to help you ace various sections of the CAT. In this particular video, what I'm going to look at is preparation plan for VARC section of the CAT. But before we get to the plan, let's discuss three problems that you are facing or would be facing. The number one problem in VARC section when it comes to preparation is not able to create milestones. Let me explain this. Now, when you look at the quantitative ability section of the CAT, you know the QA or maths has got defined areas, right? You've got arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and so on and so forth. And within each of these areas, there are defined chapters. Let's say, for example, in algebra, you have linear equations, quadratic equations, and so on and so forth. So therefore, I can actually plan this preparation by saying, look, there are 30 chapters. I might have to spend 3 hours per chapter. I probably will require 90 hours as initial preparation to help me set the basics. Then I'll start solving problems and so on and so forth. You can create a well-structured plan. I could also at least mentally think, okay, I've finished this particular chapter. I'm going to move on to the next chapter. That's something that you can do in quant. In data interpretation, even though it's a little less defined than quant, you still can create chapters. But let's look at VARC. We know there are defined area in the CAT. There is reading comprehension, there is paragraph jumble, paragraph summary, and odd sentence. But if you look at, let's say, paragraph jumble, how many chapters are there in paragraph jumble? Is there any well-defined chapters? Reading comprehension, how many chapters of reading comprehension should I do? Different books treat reading comprehension differently. Different teachers treat reading comprehension differently. Some may have 10 chapters, some may have 20 chapters. Some may define the chapters as, okay, let's look at different types of question. Some might define the chapter saying that let's look at different genre, different level of difficulty. So it's very difficult to look at a chapter for each of these areas in VARC section. Now, if it were grammar, there could be chapters, right? It's slightly more defined. But CAT does not test your grammar. At least the last 6 years, they have not tested grammar. It's more of comprehension. And when it comes to comprehension, I just can't create this chapter. Which also leads me to this problem of not able to create milestones. When do I say that I've done round 1 preparation of reading comprehension? At what point will I say that? That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is there any well-defined process to deal with these areas? Now in maths, I'm sure that there are different ways of solving a question, but there are still set processes or formulas that you can use, right? When you look at, let's say, time, speed, and distance, there are formulas available. These are something that people have been doing over the ages, and there could be multiple approaches, but at least there are some defined processes to solve these questions. But when it comes to reading comprehension, how do you define it? In fact, different people have got different approach. Some might say that you have to read the passage first and then look at the questions. Some might say look at the questions and then read the passage. Some might say while reading the passage, read it at a pace in which you can understand. Read it slowly. Some might say first you skim and scan and then read it completely. For paragraph jumble, for instance, some might say that you should look at links. That is the most crucial thing. Some might say the first step is to look at the starting sentence. Now, which one should I follow? That is problem number 2. Problem number 3 is what are the things that I must do to ensure that I do well in the specific areas of the VR section of the CAT. For example, for me to do well in reading comprehension, one factor is vocabulary. I must have good vocabulary. And the question is, should I invest in developing vocabulary? If I have to invest in developing vocabulary, how do I go about do that? Should I mark words? Should I read a book? Now, in all these things, people have different answers. Your faculty may be saying something very different from what I'm saying. And that is not to say that the person who is teaching you is wrong, or I am wrong, or that I am right, or he or she is right. No. There are various approaches, and if you stick to any one of these approaches, it should eventually work. So given these three problems, how do I prepare for VARC? Here are a few things that you must do. Number one is you have to create a milestone. Let me explain. The month is April. At the time of recording this particular video, you have about 30 weeks before the CAT hits you. What you can actually do is divide these 30 weeks into 5 sets of 6 weeks. 6 weeks and then 6 weeks, then 6 weeks and then 6 weeks. And you create a milestone of 6 weeks. You could create a milestone of 5 weeks or 4 weeks. I'm just randomly saying 6 weeks. At the end of the 6 weeks, I would want to see some improvement, which means I'm looking at, thinking in my mind that what if CAT is after 6 weeks? What will I do? How will I prepare? Let me have a consolidated, strong preparation in 6 weeks, and then replicate that and replicate that and replicate that. Plan in a small chunks of 6 weeks. There are a few things that you can do. One, since the major chunk of the questions asked in the CAT is reading comprehension, you might want to say that I'm going to spend reading comprehension every single week of the 6 weeks. There are other areas, paragraph jumble, paragraph summary, odd sentence. I could say week 1, reading comprehension plus paragraph jumble. Week 2, reading comprehension plus paragraph summary. Week 3, reading comprehension plus odd sentence. Okay. 4th week, again, I'll repeat this, reading comprehension plus paragraph jumble. Then reading comprehension plus odd sentence. Reading comprehension plus paragraph summary. Let's have a power-packed 6 weeks. So what you need to do is, instead of saying that, look, I've got 30 weeks to prepare for the CAT, let me improve over this 30 weeks. Tell yourself that I want to see improvement in 6 weeks. Now, the thing that most of us believe works is, let me just solve passages after passages, magically my score will improve. Will it? I've seen a lot of cases. I don't know, you might have started preparing for CAT a while ago. You would have done, let's say, 100 passages already. Did your score improve? If a score hasn't improved, what does it mean? I have solved 100 passages already. My scores haven't improved in reading comprehension. What is the guarantee that my score is going to improve if I solve the next 100 passages? What is the guarantee? Also, if you have solved, let's say, some 100 paragraph jumble question and nothing has changed, what was the point in solving the 100 paragraph jumble question? The problem that happens when it comes to reading comprehension, or for that matter, anything to deal with comprehension, we believe that just by solving more number of questions, my score will automatically improve. Insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting different results. What is important in your preparation is, once you have done a passage, have you picked up learning from that passage that is solved? Have you spent some time analyzing the passage and the questions? Let's say you did this passage. Then before you jump to the explanatory answers, did you analyze yourself? Okay, this particular question, answer choice that I marked as C, the right answer choice is given as D. Let me look at this once again. Let me see why I marked C and what was wrong there. What mistake did I make? Okay, why is D correct? Let me spend time myself on that particular question and then look at the explanatory answers. All that explanatory answer gives you is, it explains the answer. It does not tell you what your problem is. That's something that you have to figure out yourself. So every single reading comprehension passage that is solved, every single paragraph jumble question that is solved, every single odd sentence question that is solved, every single para summary question that is solved, you have to pick up learning. Learn from every single passage. This learning can be anything. Oh, this is my problem area. I have got issue with respect to this type of passages. So I am not able to figure out passages on social sciences maybe. Or maybe I'm reading this passage fast and missing some important points. So I really don't know how to solve this type of question. You will figure out this problem and then you know the corrective action that needs to be taken. But from every single passages, you need to learn. The key is not quantity. The key is quality. That's the first thing that you need to do. Number two is you've got a lot of advice that is available when it comes to reading comprehension. My suggestion would be stick to one. Stick to one process. I'm not saying you should stick to mine. You stick to a faculty's process. Give it time. You cannot be doing this that you tried one method. Let's say your faculty told you a method. You applied that in a question, didn't work out. Then you say, okay, let me try another method. And then you try that method, and then that's not working. Let me try another method. You must invest in one method because after all, these are skill development. No, you need to have skills. You have to develop skills. Invest in one method for those 6 weeks. And after that, if it doesn't work, okay, there's a problem in the method. But I'm guessing who are teaching you has been teaching for some time, has had success using whatever method they are teaching you. I'm assuming that you trust your faculty, right? You put the trust in your faculty, trust the method that your faculty is telling. Even though that method is diametrically opposite of some other method of some other person or some other faculty. It's like every team has to coach, right? Every coach, look at a cricket team or a football team, every coach will have a different methodology, different style, a different plan. But every coach is looking to help you win. So trust your coach and stick to that method. Now, once you have developed a level of expertise, let's say in our chunk of, let's say 6 weeks chunk, then 6 week chunk, maybe the third 6 week chunk, you have developed a certain level of expertise, then you can look around and say, okay, is there anything that I can pick from here? Is there anything that we pick from there? But as you start off, you need to have one methodology that you're going to use and stick to that for some period of time and let it work. And then you move to the next one. Number 3, should I study vocabulary? Should I study this? How should I study that? You have to ask this question to yourself. The input is I have to spend some time. The output that needs to happen is an improvement in my score. You have to ask yourself, how much time should I have to spend in some activity to improve the score? Therefore, will that activity really help me improve the score? If it is vocabulary, you ask yourself, how crucial is vocabulary to you? What is your vocabulary level? How crucial it is to improve your score? Do I have the time to invest in vocabulary, to building vocabulary? Is it absolutely necessary to have the time? The answer is no, then you figure out something else. I'm not saying vocabulary is important, vocabulary is not important. I'm not saying grammar is important, grammar is not important. What I'm saying is you make an assessment very clearly. Is that do you have the time to invest? And if you invest the time, is it a good investment? Will it definitely improve my score? That's something that you need to figure out yourself. And one last thing is about this idea of reading articles. A lot of people say that should I read articles for reading comprehension? At the end of the day, one of the things that is critical in the CAT is comprehension. My ability to comprehend things will only improve if I read a lot. Don't substitute this for a preparation for the CAT, but in actually solving questions. You create a habit of reading, which means instead of watching 3 movies a week, why not watch 1 movie a week and the remaining 2 movie time, which is 4 hours, you read. You might be spending a lot of time on Instagram. Okay, spend some time on it. In some other time, invest on reading. You invest time on reading and take it out from some activity that you're doing which is unproductive. And when you read that articles, various articles that you're reading from various sources, it can be book or from Ion Essays or Smithsonian Magazine with website, you're reading it, you read without the burden of CAT. You read just to understand what you're reading. Don't think, okay, I'm going to read this, I'm going to look at words, I'm going to do this. Just read. Just develop that skill set side by side. A focus on preparation of CAT separately. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my advice. So let me hear your 6 weeks plan? Let me know in the comment box your plan. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you and bye bye.